There's no place like home. There's no place.
Home. Our house is a very, very, very fine house with 2 cats in the yard. Life used to be so hard. Now everything is easy 'cause of you.
Well, hi there, and welcome to Home Wizards, where we love to put a smile on your face and improve your home and improve your life. I'm Cindy Dole.
Hey, I'm Eric Stromer.
And
It's
ta-da!
done! It's done! It's finished! The pond is done!
You look really happy.
I feel like I was on the Corregidor Death March. I mean, seriously, it was a lot of work, man. And so here we are at the end of that experience. I had the plants put in. I put down the mulch yesterday. We've got this underground drip system that's like buried 2 inches underneath the ground, and it's by Rainbird, and it literally, emits little drips under the water, so it waters the roots of the plant and never sprays.
This is for the plants that aren't in the pond but are on the side.
Exactly. I haven't even gotten to that yet.
Yeah.
But we had to stop there. That was kind of it.
But your deadline was
T-minus last night at 7 o'clock
because we had 8th
grade graduation party. So in the middle of frantically sweeping up all the bark and putting all the plants in place and getting it all looking great and spiffy, I also had to become a sound man for my son's 8th grade band, right? So I was trying to sound check while at the same time watering.
Testing.
1, 2.
Check.
Right. And so then, these kids show up. They're in 8th grade. They're messing around, and then a bunch of them are picking up like pebbles and throwing them in the pond. And I was about to strangle them. Oh yeah. You get possessive of this thing. Well, yeah, they didn't know any differently. It just seems like a reflecting pond.
There are rules. This is a work of art. This pond.
It is now,
and we have a bunch of pictures, by the way, on the website.
Wait till you see it. It really did come out.
If you go to
beautiful.
yourhomewizards.com, we have a little slideshow.
Right.
But we want to see all the new pictures you took just overnight, because I know you've got glorious ones.
Yes.
With it lit and everything.
Well, yeah, it looks pretty darn good. It kind of looked like a movie set a little bit.
Really?
I got to tell you. Yeah, and between that and this incredible music my kids' band played, it was really fun.
So looking back, this has been maybe a month-long process.
Yeah.
Would you say that this is a do-it-yourself project?
I would say that if you had a mentor to go to, like if there was a go-to guy or girl at a pond store that you really liked and could interface with and not feel like you were putting them out by spending so much time with them, yes. But you really do need a place to go to, either some website that gives you really detailed information or a guy that knows how to do this really professionally, because there's so many engineering angles to it, that you have to find the right amount of fall from the waterfall where it starts down into the lower pond.
And why is that?
Because if you don't have one huge seam of pond liner, you're going to get backflow, and then you're going to start to lose water.
And did you end up overlapping the insert?
Yeah, so what I did, picture this. There's a pond up in the top that's about 4 feet in diameter. There's a pond down below, which is another 4 feet in diameter.
Like a collection pond, right?
Right, and then there's a stream.
Uh-huh.
So what you're really supposed to do is get a piece of pond liner that encompasses the entire area, even with waste. You're just going to because then the areas that are depressed into the ground will be the pond liner, essentially, and then all the stuff that's left over, you just trim around it.
So you ideally want a seamless
piece. But that that would have been about $1,500 for me, maybe almost $1,800, right? Because I'd have to get something that was like 24 to 30 feet by 30 feet. It's a huge piece of rubber, and so I try to go with the 3 separate 12 by 12 liners and then seal them with adhesive.
Was that okay to do, you think?
Well, I'm not sure yet.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out if runoff is the result of losing about 1/4 to 1/2 inch of water a day, and the sun, because the water cascades on the rock, and that's a perfect opportunity for it to evaporate there, and then it's just a lot of open space in this water area, right? So it's either that, or there's a leak somewhere, and I've got to pull the rocks out again and go back and sort of put the adhesive on these seams.
Boy, that sounds exciting.
I can't wait. I can't wait to detect where the water's leaking.
We're learning, through your experience.
I want you all to understand, and that's why I did this, and that is now, the genesis of all my projects here for Home Wizards, because the things that I've done before I can talk about forever and ever. The things I've never done, we're going to learn together. And I think
Right.
that's the interesting part.
And I think, too, it was good that you had a deadline, although we do believe that if the deadline has a lot of emotion and pressure already, I mean, do you regret having had the graduation deadline?
No,
in your
I
face?
don't, because, and this again, it goes to the individual. Like for me, I was the guy that was studying for finals the night before. That's just how I get my motor running.
You like the adrenaline thing.
I guess so. And I wish it were different, but I've tried many combinations thereof, but that is in fact what makes
It works.
Eric
Yeah.
tick. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, the world's going to end tomorrow. Quick, tell everybody you love them. It's like that. It's that mentality, right? So, I had to have that deadline in order to complete it. And then the best part, or the funniest or most ironic part of the entire experience, was I finally placed the last stone, and I just put in all the mulch that I'd transported from miles away, and wheelbarrowed it in over and over again. My 13-year-old kid or 14-year-old kid now, Wyatt, comes on and goes, yeah, that's amazing, really great. So are you going to cover the black liner that we see? Because that part's really bugging me. And I just kind of glared at him like I had a shovel, and I was compelled to just ding him in the head with it.
So
right?
lesson, don't, if you're the kid
no,
of...
everyone's a critic suddenly.
You got to hold the criticism back for at least a couple of months.
But
nothing but praise.
But that's his son. I mean, that's his job, right? As a teenager,
I guess. But no, spouse, kid, grandparents, we don't want criticism right after the big reveal.
No, you want to say
wait. That was really good.
Yes, even though you did not become Miss America, you did do great with the lip gloss. Something like anything, some kind of nice.
Focus on the positive.
There you go.
Well, I have a pond, and we didn't do it ourselves. We hired someone done. Do you wish that you had hired someone?
No,
at some point in time?
I don't, because what happens for me as a general contractor, when I hire people, I end up micromanaging them. It makes them crazy, and I get nuts. Right? It feels like a job situation for me.
So then you're the critic.
So then thank you. Exactly.
Wait a minute.
Yeah. I'm like, what are you doing? It's 11 o'clock. What are you thinking? Right? Because I know all the ins and outs of the business. So I think that would make me crazy. I would probably have spent a little more. I had a good friend help me with this. He was my go-to expert for the irrigation and for the idea of
and the electrical.
I had
Which
my
was
friend
huge,
Andrew.
right?
Yeah. But my friend Chris Tuck and his wife Amy were very instrumental in this whole process. So I had that person to go to and go, okay, I'm at this place. How do I go forward? Right.
So if someone wanted to do a pond and they were thinking, okay, they're kind of handy, for sure have a mentor just as a fallback.
Right.
And if you're not handy, maybe get a consultation and have some professional
Absolutely,
do it.
yes. And then the other thing I would really strongly recommend is because, this whole process is so physical. Digging is very a huge part of this whole thing.
Well, your neck is still stiff.
You're basically digging like 2 full-size graves in a river, right? That's basically what it was. So there was so much soil to dig out of this hole that literally that would be something where you could hire somebody and get a guy that could dig for maybe $125 a day, which it just saves you and makes you feel like you can continue.
Yeah.
Because it's between the digging and the hot sun and the timeline and the deadline, all this frustration of having it not go exactly how you want it. You got to have some respite somewhere. So if it's somebody that can help you with that heavy lifting stuff, that's really helpful.
And it seems that no matter what you do, that you always want it to be bigger and better than what you initially thought. And I can imagine the digging. It feels like you're just digging and digging, and you're just digging literally to China, and you're never getting there.
You just never get there.
Never stops.
And the other thing is that you kind of, it reinvents itself. The project has a mind of its own ultimately, because there's only so much you can will. It's going to actually go the way it goes. That's what I always recommend when people are taking on projects. Don't be quite so hard on yourself. Realize that these things can sometimes take a life of their own on, and you just have to sometimes sit back and ride this wild, crazy animal that is called the ultimate water feature.
Well, so people can go to the website. If you go to yourhomewizards.com, we see some of the process, and the main boulder that really is like the
That's
focal
the focal point, yeah.
And that's where your copper pipe, if
copper
you will,
pipe comes
that's
out.
splashing up and over,
Yes.
and it basically the water does have a will of its own.
It does.
It's a river runs through it.
Yeah, that's what it is.
And it goes to the bottom, and someday you just might get koi.
Yeah,
You
well,
may.
I've prepared for koi, and I
good.
can have it. Yes, I'm not going to. My kids keep going, "Where are the koi? I thought there were going to be koi."
Well,
here."
so coming up, we're going to talk about why you want to fill your pond, at the very least, with plants. And we're going to talk about, Cindy's shopping list for plants.
I know.
for our
I'm so
pond.
excited about
because
that.
the more plants that you have, really, you can never have too many plants. Other than if you start to have fish, you don't want it to be so full that they can't get oxygen and they're
Right,
fighting. But
right.
for the most part, the plants are going to help you in the war against algae.
And it also gives it the natural look, which I love. You know, it looks like a natural setting rather than, hey, we're at the Phoenix Hilton and I've made a pond with rocks.
Right.
You know, you don't want
No,
that.
you want it to look like it's what nature created.
That's right.
God had created. So coming up, we're going to talk about some of the different kinds of plants, how to position them to make your pond look like it was something that was always there, how it's just going to look so lush and gorgeous. And also it'll work with nature and biology to keep it crystal clear.
And my fish will be alive and happy.
And they'll be happy.
You just wait.
And they'll talk to you.
Yes, they will.
Home Wizards, Eric Stromer, Cindy Doe. We love to help improve your home, improve your life. The fun continues after this.